Anyway, I wanted to do something for the people that came here today because I've been coming here. It's a hard time for me to come back to a church. You know, after being in boarding school for 12 years, that was pretty traumatic for me. But from that time on till starting to come here, I came here because of the interest of this church with Ocheti Shakonwe when it was going on. And I think it was really important for me to realize that there is people that feel like me, that have an understanding like me. But more importantly, it didn't have to be one color of people. It had to be, I felt, with everybody. So I want to share a song. About a week and a half ago, I was thinking of, my wife got me into this kind of, in a way, along with Karen. But I came along real easy with it. I wanted to do something. I wanted to share some of the history that we had in relation to how we got to Ocheti Shakonwe. So part of what we did in February and March of 2016 was we had prayer. And when you start with prayer, you usually start with the protocol of appropriateness of how you start that. And besides being influenced by the Catholic Church boarding school, I had a strong influence with my family. On my dad's side, his brother, Ronald Sam Littlall, had a huge influence in my life. And this is one of the songs that he used to sing. And it's like a Four Direction song. But it describes your connection with yourself to the Creator, or what we call Grandfather. But I want you to share it with me. So I want to teach you the words. Mary said, geez, you should pick a song that people could sing with. So I want to try this. I want you to try it. You don't have to, too. I'll sing it. But the words are really simple. They're Lakota words, Dakota words. They usually sing it in Lakota with the L dialect. So we'll sing it like that. But the words are simple. And what the words do, what they open is the four cardinal directions. And there's a lot of different uses for this song. So the words are, and I want you to, I'm going to go through it like 3 times with you, just to say the words if you want. Or just think of it in your mind. Kola. Kola is friend. Kola. Wauelo. Tunkashila. Hamie. Wauelo. Okay, now we'll just say it kind of straight. Kola. Lemiecha. Wauelo. Tunkashila. Lemie. Wauelo. That's a song that it's sung 4 times. So there's a second part to it that just says the same words. And that second verse is kind of like, Kola hemeyecha wa'uelo. So I want you to sing it with me. You could just stay sitting. But this was sang at the beginning of Ocheti Shakonwe, at the beginning of the Dapo resistance in February. We had some youth there. We started to pray with them. So the appropriateness was to open the 4 cardinal directions, to let the spiritual guidance come in, what we call Takuwa Kanshkanshka, the great mystery that flows between people, all of us. And it's a feeling of what you feel amongst other people. When you come close to a person, you kind of feel things off them. If you're really open with yourself, you can feel a lot of vibrations, a lot of aura. A lot of people call it aura. We call it Takuwa Kanshkanshka, the feeling that I get. And my feeling only extends out to the tip of my fingers. That's the way we believe our aura is our feelings. So when you get inside that space, you can feel things. A lot of times, it's good things. So let's try it. And that's the song that we wanted to share this morning. Kola wa'uelo heya tonkashila lemiecha wa'uelo heya kola lemiecha wa'uelo heyo kola wa'uelo heya tonkashila lemiecha wa'uelo heyo kola lemiecha wa'uelo heyo kola wa'uelo heya tonkashila lemiecha wa'uelo heyo kola lemiecha wa'uelo heyo kola lemiecha wa'uelo heyo. Thank you for that.
I was telling him the other night, it was probably the first time I ever spoke to Tim, that when I moved to Standing Rock in 2001, I remember that his name was a name that came up all the time. And I never met him, I never saw him. I thought, I don't know if this guy exists or not. I don't know who this is. I think they just made him up. And then I had the pleasure of hearing him speak they have an event down there where the grandfather's history, the prophecy of the grandfathers. And I got to hear him speak at that, and I was duly impressed, and I knew not then why everybody talked about him and his vast knowledge. And I am more than happy, more than pleased to say that I do now know who he is. And I am looking forward to this talk, and I hope that you all enjoy it as well. Tim?
Well, here I am again. Thank you for being able to sit. And I know it's hard for people to sit for a long time. I got 22 minutes, so I want to open up by saying that what we sang there was a song that it opened up the spiritualness of everybody. Kola wa'uelo lemiecha wa'uelo. Friend, this is me. I am coming. This is me. Friend, this is me. Grandfather, this is me. I'm coming. It's generally situated in an out with the 360 degrees in the environment that you're feeling. So it's a different type of way of expressing and feeling your surroundings. It's a little different in here. But generally, our grandfathers would open that up with that type of a song. And they say that song is an extension of your spirit. We can sit and talk from this little Adam's apple. Say this is probably one of the most spiritual parts of your body is this little Adam's apple and the inside of your thumb, your spiritual doors. A long time ago, we never shook hands. A man would never put his hand to another man's hand like this. You open yourself up. So if he's bringing bad thoughts or bad feelings towards you, but yet he shakes his hand, he can transfer that to you. So we didn't believe in that. We never touched each other because it was important to understand what touch means. We have sacred areas out on this land. And when we touch a rock, we leave our DNA, we leave our spirit there. So the tangible evidence of our spirit, as we know it, comes from our sweat, our moisture. That's the only tangible evidence us as people, as the Lakota, Dakota, believe in, is the tangible evidence is something that you can transfer, that you can place, that you can put somewhere. So touching in our culture wasn't really encouraged. You touched when it had to be a portion of that segment of time that people had to be touched. There was a process for that. And usually when people prayed, that's what they would sing first. And what you're doing is you're saying, friend, I'm coming. Kola, in our language, a lot of them interpret it as friend. It's a stronger meaning if you understand the Lakota, Dakota language. You don't call somebody a kola unless you're willing to give your life to that person. If you're willing to sacrifice your living, walking, breathing environment to that person. It's so spiritually connected. It's really an intangible that we produce. All of us are feeling that. Most of you could be somewhere else today. You could be sitting, like me, Perkins. I like to, my wife don't like to hear that, but Perkins. But, we could be somewhere else, but yet we chose to be here this morning. And so I want to share something with you that, for me, coming here, being influenced by my wife, who gave me some good influence, and Karen, we knew Karen, I knew Karen through my wife when they used to dance a number of years back. But to see that this type of setting could take that feeling down to Ocheti Shakoi of August of 2016, when everything started to really pull a lot of people. We were into our third ceremony. So from March to June, each time we got direction through prayer in our way. We took food and tobacco, wasna, which you call jerky, pounded meat, nothing mixed in, and tobacco. But more importantly, what was so significant was the water. The water. To go up and place it in a specific area that was really important to us. That could bring the power of that hill back to somewhere where we were sitting. In that case, it was in Fort Yates at a friend's house. And that's what we did when we had the decision to make back in 1890 was, how do we bring the power of our places on the hill, our places of power, our gift, our prayer, back to a setting that now we were forced to be limited to on the reservation. A lot of those places, our grandfathers stood and prayed. They got a gift there. But when that was taken from us, we had to adapt. So the prophecy, and what she mentioned was the prophecy of the grandfathers. We're living in prophecy today. All of us may not know that, but we are under the understanding of our grandfathers told us certain things were going to happen. Back in 2015, January 2015, I got up similar to this. It was a conference called Protecting the Sacred. Faith Spotted Eagle and the Yankton Sioux tribe had a number of people down, a bunch of indigenous nations down in Yankton. And we happened to be standing around there and during the break, and our keeper, our Chanupa Wayanka, Arvo Looking-Osh, the keeper of the sacred calf pipe, which has a whole different discussion, and more time is needed for that. But anyway, he was there. I was invited down, so me and my wife went down. And, one of the things that the Chanupa Wayanka asked me was talk about prophecy that I shared 2 years before up in Canada, grandmother's land, of what was coming, of what we knew of a man who had a vision on a hill said was coming. 2 things. Pavement. He said on top of the earth, there's going to be a black ribbon that's going to come and separate all the people. Keep them away from each other. They're not going to be able to go to these places where we used to all gather on a specific area within Makoche Wowapi, what we call the good earth, our homeland. And we wouldn't be able to pray anymore in a group like this. But he said when that black ribbon goes underneath the ground, there'll be no more Lakota, no more Dakota, there'll be no more people, because it's going to destroy the earth. So the Chanupa Wayanka wanted me to share that. That came from a man, 1802, that was told to me by my, again, I'll say the influence that I got from my uncle, Ronald Sam Little, told of that story to me, to not forget. He told me of the song that was given to this man called Wa'atana, charges his land. He ended up dying up in Fort Totten. But he had that vision right where the Prairie Nights Casino, where the marina is. There's a little, north side of it, there's a what we call a drainage. But he fasted there in 1802, and he had this vision. And he had said that spirit came and he grabbed that dirt. He went like this. This is how the people are going to be. And he let that dirt go, and the wind caught it and spread it out all over because of those 2. And today we see that. The pavement. We can't get off the road. Maybe it's because of also of land ownership, but we can't get off the road. We can't get off that black ribbon. We don't walk over the hill to see the beauty and the power of nature, of the environment within one specific area that us, as people, we have a right to go. But today it's different. You know, there's land ownership issues, there's fences. We didn't have fences then. No containment, but we have them today. But he warned us about what was going to go under the ground. And he told us what to do about that. He told us that we have to go back to the hill and pull the answer from there. It's all there. We just have to go back to it. And that's what's important about today. So, not going any further, there's a lot more to that, but I would just want to kind of give you an idea of why we talk about things that are important, especially with the environment. Within 2 days, next thing you know it, here came the black snake. So when we talk about things, sometimes we lose the intent of what it really, and where it really came from. The intent, the power of what he gave to us, told us, through prophecy. And the prophecy was prior to that, when that Chanupa came 2,000 years ago, they said there's going to come a time when all the colors of man are going to come back together to try to save Ujimaka, the earth. They gave us specific songs. That song you just heard is one of them. That's how old that song is. Just those simple words. So we had a connection. We had this feeling of the earth, everything that grew on that hill. It wasn't a beautiful hill, and why that stone ring was there. It was because of what it had there. The environment, the medicinal plants, the drainage, the landscape. And so I wanted to share with you this, what I wrote for a hearing. And I got about 10 minutes, so I wanted to explain, well, let me back up. When I came here, and I seen all the water protectors, you were feeling their hurt, despair. They're in court. The assistance this establishment gave them really touched my heart. I started to come back more and more. One thing I thought of when I first started coming here, it was a story of why we said water was important. Mini Wichoni, water of life. And it's a woman's story. It's a grandma's story. And a lot of the knowledge that we have, we're starting to lose it because we don't repeat it. We're not repetitious anymore. We go into a classroom, we go to a school, an academic setting. What's the first thing they tell you? Don't be repetitious. You get up and talk, don't be repetitious. Hey, don't be repetitious. But for us, that's who we were. We never wrote things down. Wait, I stand corrected. We did. We placed it on the ground, and we placed it on a hide, what we know today as winter counts. We did put things down to make a record. We put them on the walls, granite walls, sandstone walls of symbols that have a whole story. So when you see these winter counts, this one little symbol, it would take a man a whole day just to explain what that represented. That was the oral knowledge. And we lost that. But we still have, and I say it in a way of we lost it because we don't repeat it and continually. So all these, whatever we want to call them, these concerns, I was feeling those. And somehow I started to release them here because of what I was feeling. But let me just share this with people that don't understand. And I wanted to share this with you, the understanding of Mini Wichoni. And I want to tell you my grandma's story. Since I've got 6 minutes, I'll read it instead. Can I do this? What I did was, Oglala, I'm working with the Oglala Sioux tribe as a consultant. And I was down there September. We started to prep for this big hearing. And this hearing is on Crow Butte. It's a uranium mining project that they want to start digging uranium in southern Black Hills. They already have one, Dewey Burdock. That's another one we're also now in court with. But the Atomic Licensing Board, the 3 administrative judges have to consider licensing this project. They have to license Dewey Burdock. There are 2 projects. But this Crow Butte has such a beautiful story of this Crow Indian that the Lakotas surrounded on this butte, kept him there. Instead of killing him, came out a spiritual happening that we'll save for another time. But my point is that this licensing board asked the Lakota, why is water important to you? What's the historical connection? What's the cultural connection? And the importance of water. So we were sitting there, and here I'm sitting with all these elders, way older than me, and they're asking me, can you write it down? We don't write stuff like this down. But the only thing I could think of was my grandma's story. And what my grandma's story is the story of Mini Wichoni. So you heard down at the camp during the water protectors were there saying, Mini Wichoni, Mini Wichoni. I want to share that story with you. And there's different variations, I'm sure. I'm sure they have that. But I'll read it really quick here. And so this is a public hearing on Crow Butte uranium expansion project that's occurring in the southern Black Hills by Edgemont, South Dakota. Atomic Energy Licensing Board, October 28th, Chatter, Nebraska. I gave this. And I'm just going to read a portion of it. And they were challenging the Oglala's knowledge on water, the spiritual knowledge of water. And somehow I got picked in that room to put it down on paper. So this is what I put down. So let me read it real quick here. Formulation of comments on cultural, historic ties to water importance. The comments, so this is me giving this. I got up and gave this presentation, or testimony. The comments presented here today are derived from the Lakota Dakota perspective. That perspective describes the Lakota Dakota oral knowledge of natural law that we now have to write on paper to support our connection to water, the land, air, and cultural environment within the Crow Butte proposed expansion area. There is no individual in the field of science or technology that has the ability to describe this oral knowledge, or any present-day archaeologist who has the ability to identify cultural or sacred sites and associate them with the natural resources to this knowledge. The archaeologists who conducted archaeological surveys in the Lakota Dakota homelands and treaty territory generally try to control the Lakota Dakota narrative. These individuals cannot recognize what's important to the Lakota Dakota, cannot identify the cultural sites, stone features, and sacred landscapes that are attached to water. These resources and sacred sites describe our Lakota Dakota worldview that are present today in the environment surrounding the sacred Black Hills in our homelands. This oral knowledge was held by the Lakota Dakota knowledge carriers. These oral knowledge carriers are the women that protected the first water, Mini-Wichoni. This is Kunshi. This is Kunshi's story, my grandma's story. I would like to share what I heard from my grandmother who helped raise me. Her name was Charlotte Laura Bighead Ramsey, granddaughter of Chief Bighead Patunka, a Hunktua Pabaksa Dakota. The male interpretation of the Lakota Dakota perspective on the connection to water required him to continually guide the Kunshi's grandmothers back to their areas where she gave birth to her Dakota Lakota children. So her daughter will also bring life into this world at the same location. For a non-Indian to try to understand this is not the responsibility of the Lakota or Dakota. But if they want to request this information, legal weight must be afforded the Lakotas and Dakotas' worldview coming from the perspective of the Lakota Dakota natural laws. The spiritual and intangible aspects of the structure of the Lakota Dakota's family connection to the water source, their land, and that which is connected to the genesis story of the Lakota Dakota Oyate. And these cultural landscapes also contain our sacred sites. It's hard for the Lakota to share this knowledge openly as it's proprietary information for an individual, their family, and it was held communally by Ocheti Shakoi. Where you find water, you will find a tangible evidence of the Lakota Dakota Oyate. So I'll read just 1 and 2, and then I'll end. The cultural ties to water. The Lakota Dakota of Ocheti Shakoi had this oral knowledge of Mini-Wichoni water and how it related to life. This created the cultural tie to the first water, as known by our grandmothers. The Kunshi guarded this gift of knowledge and controlled the water knowledge very carefully, giving this gift to their daughter by sharing this knowledge within the woman's ceremony. When a girl became a partner or a life companion, a wife to a man, prior to the living relationship, part of this knowledge that was included in ceremony was known as the knowledge of Mini-Wichoni, and was given to the daughter of the young lady in a four-day ceremony who had been separated from the main camp. Kunshi and relatives would get her ready to accept womanhood, as she would eventually carry water within her body to develop a child. Eventually, part of this discussion was the center of the water ceremony, used to ask for a sacred being, a Wakayanja, a child, to be conceived by the mother. This was later interpreted in the English language as the Lakota and Dakota natural law, At the beginning of this life between the woman and a man, they would decide when to ask for the nagi, the spirit. They knew the nagi of the child was wakan, sacred. And the calling for a nagi by the woman and the man created the spiritual work of Wichachpi Oyate, the star nation. For this to happen by natural law, it required good quality water that was understood to have a nagi, spirit. It was therefore very important for a family to go seasonally to seek this area from a selected generational water source, the source of water that the spirit child will be developed in. Particular rivers and drainages were part of the history of a particular family structure, revisited continuously and generationally in the Lakota Dakota's Makoche Wowapi. All was synchronistic, timely, and deliberate in spiritual movement. The water sources in the cultural landscape surrounding the Hesapa, Black Hills, was most sought after by the young couples wanting to start a family. The Tioshpae, which means a large family unit with a leader. The Tioshpae areas that were occupied seasonally were selected by the Lakota and Dakota and the Makoche Wowapi for calling a nagi, a spirit, to be wanted by the parents of the woman and man. Where this water was located, the quality and the purity of the water was central, very important, to bringing a spiritual gift of a kayanja, a child, for the Lakota. This nagi, the spirit child, developed within the first water source of a woman it knew, and for some time developed in the woman's womb until birth. The Lakota Dakota have a name for a woman's womb, and it has a spiritual Lakota Dakota designation called Tamani, and carried the first water. This was the first spiritual liquid, or Miniwi Choni, water of life, that the Wakayanja, the child, developed in, knew and lived in. The development in the Tamani was very sacred, and it held most Wakan. It was held most Wakan of the Mani. The woman knew that eventually the birth of a child was a spiritual happening that exposed the developed spirit. This started with the breaking of the water, followed by the child coming out that created the natural laws of the Lakota Dakota, and the laws that the little nagi will be guided by. Everything the mother exposed herself to during this time of carrying the child, including the water she drank, the source of the water, and the purity of the water, which the Lakota Dakota understood, helped shape what this little child would eventually become, because it came from Tamani and the child's first water. Natural law required that the first water from the Tamani is supposed to hit or spill on Unchimaka, grandmother earth, during birth to replenish her. Once conceived, the kunchi placed or touched the child to the earth, as it then connected this little living nagi, spirit child, to Unchimaka, grandmother earth, at that sacred spot. And the afterbirth was buried in that location or near to it. Later, the Wakayanja, the child, then learned how to crawl, walk, or sleep on Unchimaka. The kunshi required that the Wakayanja, the child, to sleep on the ground to remind him he came from the earth. The Lakota Dakota called this Makagana, lives in the earth. By this process, the child would continuously to come back to this area, or was drawn spiritually back to this location. If a boy was born, and when he became a man, he would place his humblecha, his vision quest, stone ring somewhere near this area. This is where the spiritual door opened, Tiopa Yuha. Because the good pure water source was nearby, it tied this water source to this sacred site. The proposed Crow Butte uranium expansion project is within an area where Lakota families for generations revisited and are connected to. The Lakota men have spiritual areas, locations connected to water that are within the expansion area. The position of the Oglala Sioux tribe is the oral comments presented here must carry some legal weight within the NEPA process. The sacred sites and historic sites within the Crow Butte expansion area must be identified by the Lakota and documented for consideration in the final NEPA decision. Any decisions to potential adverse effects to the cultural and environmental resources must include the participation of the Oglala Sioux tribe and members of Ocheti Shakoi. There's more to that, but I just wanted to share that much, that how many held the first water. Every woman has that. Women are the only ones that have 6 powers. Us men try to use the rest of it, all the way up to 8. But for a woman to have that gift of bringing that little spirit, that nagi, that's why they don't have to fast. That's why they don't go up on the hill. They already have that with them. Us men, we have to struggle to try to get to the 6th power. Most of us only get to 4. What I just sang, that 4 directions, is generally what I can achieve. Some of us only get to 2. But what's important, if you don't hear me, what I'm saying is the directions are very important to spirituality within our culture. What's more important is the other 4. Not the cardinal directions, but the other 4 added to that. Northwest, northeast, southeast. Southwest is the most powerful direction for us as people. So that's why you see people turning when they pray. They're opening up those doors. And to shut them, there's a song. So you generally, when you open it, like what we did just now, singing that first song, there's different types of songs that closes the door. But this is a song that comes when you're to the end of what you're doing through prayer. It brings up 4 again. The first one is grandfather. The second one is Katetopa. That star constellation that has 4 stars in the west. You see it in summer solstice, 4 stars. The 4 seasons, what we call Katetopa. It has its own song, but in this song it's referenced it. They say grandfather goes and looks down on Unchimaka. He brings 4 paintbrushes. Black, red, yellow, white. The 4 seasons. Each one of those 4 seasons have a specific ceremony attached to them. Each one of them in our walk of life has a specific man that's a spiritual man that walks through them. The 5th is the hardest one to achieve for us as men. But women have the 5th and the 6th. That's why they go that far. That's why they can sit right where you're sitting, like today. Women can pray right where they're at. They don't have to go on the hill and suffer like men do, because we're trying to achieve that level of spiritual understanding that women have. But Toshka here, I got a nephew here that I want him to help me sing this. My mouth is cotton mouth. I'm out of breath. Probably need an egg sandwich. So I want him just to help me sing this song. And it's a song that closes. A lot of times they sing it when they're bringing the tree out of a Sundance. When they're done 4 days, that tree gave its life. It brought everything up from the prayers, and it took it up into 2. We bring in the 4. The 4, there's a bundle up on top of that tree. So I don't know if everybody understands Sundance, but this is what we end with this song. Shela o makiayo makakijelo hayo aya tate to pahena hoye wayelo hayo hon tunga she wakan tanka hena hoye wayelo hey hon tunga shela o maki ayo maka kijelo hey wa ho choka wa hena hoye wa yelo hey ho tunka shela wa kantanka hena hoye wa yelo hey ho tunka shela ho maki ayo maka kijeo hey hey chawa kawa hena hoye wa yelo hey ho tunka shela wakantanka hena hoye waelo hey ho tunka shela ho maki ayo maka kijelo hey ho tunka shela te wakantaka wowapi da tranka chichuna Wananda vichasha ka deda homni naji dako ste ichibna dako e bidukchugna sheke khashla wopira tranka chichuna decha yakubna heshama takana shni chike ushwa mae ushmae de vichasha na de ijana kabna dako ste chanuna ta chike ahecha de bidukchina chike wopira tranka chichuna de apetuki decha yakubna Wana gurushtum na chikete kasha wopadamado homitake wasi. Oh, thank you. Thank you for listening.
Our closing words today come from Black Elk. Hear me 4 quarters of the world. A relative I am. Give me the strength to walk the soft earth. Give me the eyes to see and the strength to understand. Look upon these faces of children without number, that they may face the winds and walk the good road to the day of quiet. This is my prayer. Hear me.